CADASIL is a disease of the small arteries in the brain, usually starting with small infarcts in the brain around the age of 35, 40, 45. This progresses over the years so that they have progressively difficulties in walking, difficulties in moving, difficulties in swallowing, and then cognitive changes. Usually in a mean of 20 years, this leads unfortunately to death after complete dependency and dementia.
Hello.
Hello Chantal.
On s'embrasse. Voilà, c'est une belle journée qui commence.
Oui, absolument.
Merci.
It is in 1976 that I saw a 50-year-old man who I didn't know at that time, but was going to be Joseph, the first CADASIL patient.
Non.
Le 3, Antoine. Okay. So we can come in. 17. Okay. This is exactly the same place where I was in 1976 when I first met Joseph.
My grand-uncle.
Your great-uncle. Just after my residency, I was a young assistant, and there he was with, as you know, a stroke, a very unusual kind of stroke. I asked him if he wanted to be included in this trial of aspirin to prevent another stroke, and he said yes. And so I followed him very, very, very regularly. At the beginning, Joseph was just a patient with whom we did not really understand what was going on. And I knew there was something strange in his story because he was young, he had no risk factors, no high blood pressure, no diabetes, he was not smoking.
My family is a family of farmers, and they were living in very difficult conditions, being impaired, paralyzed, dying rather young. There had no medical help, no solution for the future.
I'm just impressed to be in this room where you met my grand-uncle. But I can imagine how much it was difficult for him because we didn't know anything about this illness and the risk we had.
For many, many years I have followed Joseph, and in 1986 his daughter came to see me, and her brother came too, and we could see that they had the same deep infarcts and white matter changes as their father. So, I knew at that time that this was a familial disorder, and we started to draw the family tree. Okay.
Comfortable. So we can show the documents.
Okay.
Huh?
My family at the beginning of the 20th century. My grandmother and her sister, they both had inherited CADASIL mutation from their father. Of course, they were not aware of it.
Yeah, we did not know that at that time. If I remember right, she is the mother of Joseph, the first patient.
Yes.
So she is the mother. We were able at that time to contact the family members that had all agreed to come to Paris, and we could examine them, draw the blood for genetic study, and do, of course, the MRI, which was absolutely crucial. And it's on the basis of that that Elisabeth did the genetic study and found the location of the gene on chromosome 19. We could do the MRI, which was done in 15-20 hospital, which is an eye hospital, and a friend of mine is the head of department of that radiology hospital. He was interested in the story, and he said, well, I have some research money. I can let you my MRI one Saturday every month. So they came, 57 members of the family, and we could examine them, draw the blood for genetic study, and do, of course, the MRI, which was absolutely crucial. So all this part of the story led just on one family, for which it was very difficult to get funding. This led to map the location of the gene on chromosome 19. It's on the basis of your family with your contribution, your solidarity, and so on, that Elisabeth located the gene on chromosome 19. And then it was extremely important because within 3 years, we gathered 33 other families. Some of them were thought to have familial multiple sclerosis or familial dementia, or even some of them familial migraine and so on. So they came to Elisabeth's lab, and at that time, Anne Joutel, she had been my resident in neurology, so at the beginning she was a clinician. And then after her residency, she decided to go into research, and she went to Elisabeth's lab, and she worked with Elisabeth now on the blood. She knew that the gene was on chromosome 19 between this and this, because they had markers of some, voilà. They had some markers. She knew that this was between this and this. And with other families, it allows the narrowing of... And then they had a small place on chromosome 19, and then they looked what there was here, and they found that there was a gene called Notch3, but the very interesting thing for me, I mean, it was unbelievable, is that this Notch3, at that time, was not known in humans.
I know.
It was not, in the Drosophila, the fly. Yes. And it was known to modify the wings. And this is why it is called Notch, because, you know, the wings have a strange shape like this. And so this was already very important because it opened a new area of research. What is the role of this gene in the development of the small vessel in the brain? We knew this was an important finding, and we knew it was a disease of small arteries of the brain. So we decided that we should find an acronym for this disease, and I suggested the acronym CADASIL, cerebral autosomal dominant arteriopathy with subcortical infarcts and leukoencephalopathy. I would say thanks to CADASIL. I mean, there was in France, which was very good, there was a plan for finance for rare diseases. And so we are the center really in France for rare genetic cerebrovascular disease, and also of the brain and of the eye.
So it gives the opportunity for patients with CADASIL to be followed with the same methods, the same tools.
But it's also because of your collaboration and the collaboration of other families that the research is going on. So at the Center for Rare Diseases, Cerebrovascular Diseases, there are now more than 300 CADASIL patients that are followed regularly.
I think it's very, very helpful for us to have a dedicated team of researchers and doctors who are very accessible for our family. When our mother was ill, she could phone Professor Bousser at home late in the night on her personal phone number. So this engagement, this involvement, this personal link, who are so enthusiastic, so generous with us, is just a very, very strong help for us. And also it gives us some confidence in the future.
And we will share all these documents.
We
will keep the link.
Oh, certainly. Is there anything left for CADASIL research? Well, of course. I mean, the most important one is to find a treatment.
We're grateful.
Don't forget
this
one.
Yes, it's so precious. It's a treasure for me.
Okay.
So I was very happy to share this moment with you. Professor Bousser, particularly, is like family, and I'm sure she will get her objective, her aim of finding some solution.